Now at 6, the search for a missing Oklahoma 4-year-old turns into a recovery operation. Plus, what a new report shows about the percentage of sports gambling revenue in Kansas going to providing treatment for gambling addicts. And we'll check out a Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration hosted by the Gordon Parks Museum in Fort Scott.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Authorities in Cyril, Oklahoma say the search for a missing 4-year-old girl is now considered a recovery operation. This is KOAM News at 6. I'm Dow Quick. Athena Brownfield hasn't been seen since last Tuesday. On that day, her 5-year-old sister was found outside of her relative and caretaker's home by a postal carrier. Athena and her sister had been in the care of Alyssa and Ivan Adams for at least a year. Alyssa Adams is facing charges of 2 counts of child neglect. Ivan Adams faces 1 count of first-degree murder and 1 count of child neglect. He was arrested in Arizona last week and is awaiting extradition to Oklahoma. The OSBI and federal authorities have arrested a Mays County, Oklahoma man on child pornography charges. Authorities say they received a tip last December about child porn uploaded through an IP address belonging to Paul Cook. Cook was arrested on Friday. He's charged with distribution and possession of child pornography, as well as violating the Oklahoma Computer Crimes Act. Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy joins us now with a first look at the weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a nice one for us today. Temperatures, they went all the way into the 60s for highs. It was on the windy side, but those winds are going to start to calm down just a little bit as we go through the evening hours. But look at our temps, still anywhere from 50 in Fort Scott to 60 once you get down toward Grand Lake, so a pretty good spread. Strong southerly winds all day long for us today. They've kind of switched out of the west and they are starting to diminish a bit, which is good news. We have pretty much clear skies. We got a few mid and upper level clouds which are rotating through. Besides that, we look pretty good. But here's our next storm system already building out across the western third of the country, and that will start to affect us tomorrow night into Wednesday. Tonight, we slide back near 40 for an overnight low. We got rain chances, which are going to roll in on Wednesday. Colder the second half of the week. Another storm system for the weekend. We're going to break it all down for you here in just a bit.
Fort Scott Community College joined with other groups across our nation today to celebrate the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. KOAM's Yana Hautala visited the event and talked with organizers and participants.
Some residents in Fort Scott joined the celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, hosted by the Gordon Parks Museum inside the Ellis Fine Arts Center.
Legacy that Martin left behind to continue that we're still fighting some of the same struggles that happened in civil rights and still today in 2023. So we want to continue the education of that to let people know the struggle that continues to go, and we just need to keep moving forward.
The day included a free lunch and learn event with guest speaker John Edgar Tidwell from the University of Kansas. He talked about John Lewis's phrase, good trouble, in relations to humanity.
How can we think about the humanities in times of crisis, in times of distress, in times of contentiousness? What role do the humanities play in that particular environment? And so I started with the notion of good trouble.
The event gathered a great amount of people from the area to listen and discuss with Tidwell.
There are a lot of things I didn't really think about, but now I'm like, hey, that actually makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it was pretty enlightening.
To celebrate the day of service, the museum hosted a food drive for a local food pantry beacon.
We wanted to use this as a day of service because Martin Luther King Day is just not a day off. It should be a day on, and it's a national day of service. So we wanted to do a day of service on top of everything else. So this is our second year doing the day of service for the Camp Food Drive, and this year is truly successful.
In Fort Scott, Yana Hautala, KOAM News.
Officials say the food drive was a success, doubling the amount collected during last year's efforts. If you bought a Mega Millions ticket in Southeast Kansas about a week ago, you want to take a look at it. It seems the tickets sold in Southeast Kansas for the January 10th drawing matched all 5 numbers, but not the Mega Ball. Even though that ticket wasn't enough for the grand prize, it's still worth a cool $1 million, and at last report, that $1 million was still unclaimed. The winning numbers in that drawing were 7, 13, 14, 15, 18, Mega Ball 9. Betting on sports in Kansas has attracted a lot of people. More than $700 million worth of bets were placed last year. That's according to initial numbers released by the Kansas Lottery. That's just within the first 4 months the betting has been legal in the state. It's giving sports books nearly $21 million in revenue. The share of Kansas, the state of Kansas rather, gets a share of that, about $2 million for last year. But as Sean Logan reports, only a small percentage of that is going to help people dealing with gambling problems.
It's part of the experience for many Kansans now to watch a game and place a bet.
It can be fun, but you have to balance that with limiting yourself.
When that fun turns into a problem, South Central Kansas Problem Gambling Task Force Chair Stephanie Roberts works to help people overcome it. Sports betting, she says, has a higher risk of trouble.
Part of that is because of the mobile wagering. It allows for like instantaneous and immediate gambling.
Stephanie says something lacking from the Kansas sports betting law is funding to help those in crisis because of it.
Resources to assist people who develop problems have gradually declined in this state. We used to be known as the gold star.
The Kansas Problem Gambling and Addictions Grant Fund is one of the main ways to fund resources and services. It's expected to have about $8 million for fiscal year 2023, which runs between July of last year and June of this year. It's funded through 2% of state-owned casinos' gaming revenue and $80,000 from the State Gaming Revenue Fund transferred in once a year. From the state's share of sports betting revenue, the grant fund gets a small amount.
Instead of problem gambling coming first, all this other money comes out first.
Early estimates had sports betting making the state $1.8 million in 2023. $750,000 will go into the white-collar crime fund, and 80% of what's left goes to a fund to attract a professional sports team. The Problem Gambling and Addictions Grant Fund, Stephanie says, gets 2% of what remains. Based on the $1.8 million estimate,
the Problem Gambling Fund is only going to receive $4,200, which is nothing when you talk about we have people that we need to send to inpatient treatment programs.
Even if people need help, Stephanie says one of the biggest challenges is letting people know they're here.
I have people all the time that haven't heard about these services.
Problem Gambling and Addictions Grant Fund covers counseling and treatment services at no out-of-pocket cost, along with education and prevention work. It also supports a hotline at 1-800-522-4700. You see it there. People can call that number and ask to be referred to a Kansas gambling counselor. Again, that number is 1-800-522-4700. Coming up, we're going to learn about a nonprofit in Springfield that's already looking forward to making sure everyone has a happy Easter. Plus, the Columbus Titans take on the Neodesha Blue Streaks to kick off the Lancer Classic basketball tournament. Well, a couple of weeks have passed since the New Year holiday. We've arrived at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and already a lot of people are gearing up for the next big celebration. As Chad Pline reports in Springfield, a longtime nonprofit is very busy making sure everyone can enjoy a happy Easter.
On Bennett Street near Scenic, there's a nonprofit with a wealth of satisfied employees.
How long have you been working here?
12 years.
12. How long have you been working here?
25 years.
Why? Why have you worked here so long?
I got a cool boss named Michelle over there.
Cool boss.
The workshop at SWI Industrial Solutions is busy all of the time, especially now. The Easter Bunny needs these Sunny Bunny Easter eggs filled.
Our whole goal is to provide quality and dignified employment for people with disabilities.
For the past 14 years, they've lined up purple, pink, blue, and yellow eggs, dropped a sweet treat inside, then popped them closed.
Our goal this year is $13.5 million. We really think we're going to reach it.
Since January 1st, they've already shipped out 800,000 eggs across the United States, each one sealed with care.
What do you like most about working here?
I do like eggs.
Yeah.
I just like the people here, and I just like the work.
I like the tasks.
I like the people the most.
Why?
Because I have a lot of friends to work with.
And the friends at work, almost as important as the work itself.
Without the workshop, there'd be people sitting at home watching TV, and the quality of life wouldn't be as much as it is being here. And
SWI was created in 1966 as the Springfield Workshop. Some parents got together and wanted more for their kids. 60 years ago, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for many adults with disabilities to have a job.
Their first big job was putting the plastic grapes for like displays on the stems. And again, now we look that we do so much more.
SWI does subcontracting work for many companies. On this day, employees were also popping gaskets into nozzles and packing hot sauce for distribution.
Our employees take a lot of pride in their work, and it shows. And that's why we have these customers, you know, major corporations we've had for over 25 and 30 years.
And friendships for a lifetime.
Yeah, a lot of friends and and girlfriend too.
Oh, okay.
She was the break.
Monday's the happiest day here because they are back with their friends, their co-workers, back to work and making a difference. They're making a difference. Friday's the least happy because it's going to be a couple days before they're back with their peers.
A little later, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars for a spot in the AFC Championship game. We're going to break down the matchup.
Plus, our temperatures are going to stay mild the next couple days, but more rain chances. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, it turned out to be a nice Monday for us today. A little bit on the windy side, especially earlier during the morning hours into the early afternoon. Then the winds have kind of calmed down just a little bit over the past couple hours. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temps still pretty good. Most of us are sitting anywhere from 50 upwards to 60 degrees. A little bit cooler in northern counties. Then you hit 54 in Pittsburgh, 58 in Miami, 62 in Anderson, and we're not going to drop off too much as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Look at the strong southerly winds for us today. Now they've kind of shifted out of the southwest. They're dying down, so it's not going to be near as windy tonight into the daytime hours tomorrow. Currently outside, we're sitting at 57 westerly winds at about 10. Humidity is low at 44%. Through the overnight hours, slide back through the 50s down to about 40 for an overnight low, and we're going to have, and we'll call it mostly clear skies across the region. We just have some mid and upper level clouds which are kind of scooting through, but one storm system pulling away, next one building in the western third of the country. Fairly strong little wave. It's out across parts of Nevada, and this is going to track out right into the Central Plains as we go through the next couple days. So let's go through time for us tonight. Mostly clear skies. We drop back near 40. Quick warm up, mid to upper 50s by noon. Clouds increase during the afternoon, but we should go into the lower 60s for highs. 38 start, 57 by noon. High temp right around 62. Northerly winds are going to be light at 5 to 10. All right, tomorrow night, here come showers, mainly after midnight. So here's 1 a.m. Showers across the region, hit and miss, mainly on the Kansas and the Oklahoma side as we go into Wednesday morning. Then we get a band of showers and thunderstorms mid to late morning into the early afternoon. These could be a little bit on the loud side, but I'm not expecting anything too strong or severe. And then they're gone by mid-afternoon on Wednesday. We get a lot of clouds kind of hanging out Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Could even see a few flurries by Thursday morning, but not a big deal. All right, rainfall amounts heaviest on the Kansas side. A lot of areas 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. I think most of us 1/4 to about 1/2 inch of rain with this next storm system. And you can see our rain chances shoot up. So here's midnight tomorrow night. Then we go to about 3 or 4 a.m. and then through the morning, and then they trail off as we go into late morning. We have another storm system, so we get a 2-day break. Then here comes our next storm system moving in as we head into the weekend. It looks like rain, but it could mix with or change over to snow late Saturday into Saturday night and Sunday morning. So that's something we will want to keep our eyes on as we go through the next couple days. All right, tomorrow 62, 60 on Wednesday. Good chances, showers, thunderstorms. Cooler Thursday and Friday. Next system Saturday and Sunday with rain, possibly over to a little bit of snow. We get a break for a day. Next storm system moves in next Tuesday and Wednesday, so we stay pretty active over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, the chance of snow is especially interesting in a few days. Thanks, Doug.
Yep.
Still ahead, the Kansas City Chiefs prepare for Saturday's playoff opener against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Columbus boys hit the floor in the first round of the Southeast Lancer Classic. Jacob Leonard has those highlights and more up next.
Well, today is the opening day of the Lancer Classic at Southeast High School. The boys bracket gets going today with the girls bracket scheduled to begin tomorrow. Now, starting things off this afternoon, the Columbus Titans on the floor against the Neodesha Blue Streaks. Check it out. Early on, Colt Ungerhauer pick and roll with Brett Hamilton. Hamilton sets the screen, rolls, and finishes. Then check out Ungerhauer here. Drives, spins, scoops it in for two off the glass. Ungerhauer on the break behind everybody here. Gets up for the two-handed jam. Columbus really rolled in this one from the opening tip. Now on the other side though, Crew Johnson made a lot of nice plays for Neodesha. None cooler than this one. Beats the first quarter buzzer. Deep three off the glass, but in the end, it is Columbus cruising in their Lancer Classic opener 80-29. A little bit later this evening, the tournament host Lancers play their first game of the Classic against Parsons. The Southeast kind of on a roll to begin the season. They're 7-1 and on a 5-game winning streak. That game begins at about 7 o'clock. We will be there. We'll have highlights from the game right here tonight at 10. On the college game, the latest AP national rankings are out today. The Kansas Jayhawks stay at number 2 this week. The last time out, they held on against Iowa State 62-60 to get to 5-0 in the Big 12. The Kansas State Wildcats are down 2 spots from number 11 to number 13 after Saturday's loss to TCU. Arkansas also slips this week. Razorbacks are down 10 spots from 15 to 25 after that upset loss to Vanderbilt. And the Missouri Tigers, they were number 20. Then they were upset by Florida. The Tigers have dropped out of the top 25. Well, after a bye week to open the NFL playoffs, it's game week again for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs will play at home this weekend, facing the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC divisional round. This game scheduled for 3:30 on Saturday in Kansas City. The winner moves on to play for the AFC Championship. Right now, the Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites. It'll be the second meeting of the season between these two teams. Kansas City beat Jacksonville 27-17 in Kansas City back in November. Now, since that game, though, the Jags have been really good. They've gone 7-1 since their loss to Kansas City. That includes winning the playoff opener last week against the Chargers. In that game, Jacksonville overcame a 27-0 deficit to beat LA 31-30. That was the third largest comeback in NFL history. So I know, at least in my lifetime, Jacksonville's kind of been the perennial underdog, but they proved last week in the second half, not the first one, that they can really play well and play with anybody.
And this game on Saturday is going to have 2 good quarterbacks with 2 good coaches. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Hope so.
We'll be right back. Take time now to honor a local veteran. John Anderson served in the U.S. Army from 1942 to 1946. The Hepler, Kansas native was stationed in the Philippines and received an American Service Medal and a Philippine Liberation Ribbon with a Bronze Star, among other awards. And we salute John Anderson, a 4-state hero. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We're going to check out a Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration hosted by Pitt State. Plus, how artificial leaves are being used to generate clean, renewable energy. Those stories, a lot more coming up tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. We have some rain chances this week.
We do. Tomorrow night into Wednesday, showers, even a few thunderstorms across the region. Couple days of a break and then rain, maybe mixing with a little bit of snow late Saturday into Sunday. Could be snowing during the Chiefs playoff game as well.
Kind of hope it is. Final sports notes.
Well, this is tournament week for local high school basketball. We'll have plenty of tournaments this week. Tonight, also the opening night of the Tony DeBray Classic in Liberal. We'll have highlights at 10.
We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.